Good morning, Bhante.
Okay, Veronique?
Yes, Bhante, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay. Is there any question you can ask me now?
Don't see any questions in the chat yet. I can start by asking a question that I had. One question that I had is it seems like a lot of times when somebody commits wrong karma against somebody that's an arahant, they have a much harder result. I remember there was this story in one of the sutta where a monk went to the Buddha criticizing Venerable Sariputta and Venerable Moggallana. And the Buddha told him, do not say bad things about them. And they kept on 3 times saying that they were not, that Venerable Sariputta and Venerable Moggallana were not good monks, and the Buddha told him not to say that. And then after, that monk that criticized them went to hell for a really long time. Why is it that it's such a negative karma when one harms an arahant rather than just an ordinary person? Why is it so much worse?
That is called Ariyopavada Kamma. That is accusing fully enlightened persons of some wrongdoing. Venerable Sariputta and Moggallana were perfectly enlightened. Since they were perfectly enlightened, somebody who did not know that he was fully enlightened, or even if he knew that he was fully enlightened, accuses him. That's a very, very serious karma, because that person gives other people wrong impression. This is what is called misinterpreting the Dhamma. Here, these individuals, Sariputta and Moggallana, have completely eradicated all the 10 fetters. When someone has eradicated all the 10 fetters, that person cannot have evil thought. And if somebody accuses him that Sariputta and Moggallana, who have destroyed all the 10 fetters, if they accuse him that for some wrongdoing, that means this person does not accept the fact that one who eradicated 10 fetters cannot commit unwholesome karma. He cannot, his mind is so pure and clean that that person even doesn't commit any karma, wholesome or unwholesome. That is why it is called punya papa pahinasa, nati jagarato bhayam. One who has overcome all the defilements, that person does not have any intention of doing good or bad. good or bad, somebody commits with intention. Intention is karma. Chetanaham bhikkhave kammang vadami, Buddha said. This individual, Venerable Sariputta and Moggallana, did not have that intention of committing any karma. So somebody accusing him committing any karma denies the impossibility of committing karma by a enlightened person and denies that his mind is pure and clean. That is a very, very serious misunderstanding Dhamma. I think I mentioned in our sutta discussion, misrepresenting, misconstruing Dhamma is like catching a snake by wrong place. If we catch the snake by tail or body, the snake, poisonous snake, will turn around and bite your hand or leg or some other parts and inject large amount of venom that will cause you very seriously ill or cause your death. And then if you, with this misunderstanding, misinterpretation of Dhamma, go and tell others, you poison others' minds as well. And therefore, misconstruing the Dhamma is more dangerous than even a snake bite. In snake bite only you will die, or you will be seriously sick. You will die in this life. You suffer in this life. That's all. It is not infectious, not contagious. But if you poison people's mind through your misunderstanding of Dhamma, you poison many millions of people's minds, and then they commit unwholesome karma. And this perpetuates, this can have a snowball effect, and they suffer not only this life, but in many, many lives to come. And that is why it is very serious. So this Kokalika was the one who said that Venerable Sariputta and Moggallana have evil mind, evil thought, and commit evil karma and so forth. Therefore, he committed very, very serious bad karma. Okay?
Thank you, Bhante. The next question is, can you please explain what is body witness, kaya saki, and what is upato bhaga vimutta, so one that is liberated in both ways, and also chitta vimutti and panna vimutti?
I think upato bhaga vimutti means one who is liberated by both ways. That is chitta and panya. That means samatha and vipassana. He is liberated through the samatha practice and vipassana practice. All arahants attain through arahanthood through vipassana practice. And some arahants practice tranquility meditation, samatha meditation, and from there he gains insight and attain liberation. So after some attaining full enlightenment, they can practice various type of eat this. Some practice jhanas and practice various eat this and so forth, and then attain enlightenment. Panya vimutti and what you call samatha vipassana, vimutta. That is called ubato bhaga, both ways. Kaya sakhis are all others who have attained through faith, saddha and panya separately. I think this in Kitagiri Sutta you can find the details, and I wish you look at Kitagiri Sutta where you can gain more detail. Okay?
Thank you, Bhante. The next question is, how would a person begin with Vipassana meditation? How do you get started practicing Vipassana as a beginner?
Practicing Vipassana as a beginner
Yes.
is you focus your mind on one object, such as your breathing. When you focus mind on the breathing, you see the breath. You have to pay total attention to your breath. And then you see your gross breath becomes subtler and subtler and subtler. And then you come to a stage where your breath and body, mind, all become very calm, relaxed and peaceful, and then you may feel sleepy. You learn how to overcome sleepiness. And then you learn to overcome sleepiness by focusing mind on your, what you call, visualizing bright light. Then you may have restlessness and worry because of your guilty feeling that you have done something wrong, or you have incomplete job, or you have some future work to do, or you may have some traumatic experience, or something like that can happen in your mind. Then you will become restless and you will have worry, remorse. Then you overcome by bringing mind back again and again to your present moment, that is focusing mind on the breath. So you learn to overcome your restlessness and worry. Then greed can arise when you remember very delicious cake or very beautiful smell and the sight you have seen, music you have heard, touch you have had, a pleasant touch, and so forth. When you remember all these things, you will have desire, greed. Then you have to overcome that by understanding their nature, the danger of greed. Greed always causes pain and suffering, and then you have to overcome that by knowing that greed is impermanent, that always brings you unsatisfactoriness, pain and suffering, and like that you have to think of various things in order to overcome your greed. Then you may have anger or resentment or hate in your mind all of a sudden. You remember something very unpleasant done to you by somebody, then you think of the person and get angry. Then you have to bring your mind, you have to remember the metta practice. And normally we ask people to start meditation with metta in order to bring it to your forefront to overcome your anger. Once that is overcome, what is left is doubt. You have to have 100% trust, confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, morality, dependent origination, karma, and previous life, this life, next life, and so forth. You have confidence. Above all, you must have deep confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Buddha is the perfect one who introduced this Dhamma meditation techniques, and who, from his own personal experience, he realized the benefit of this, not from theories, but through his own practice he realized it, and he introduced this to us, and we follow that, and we overcome our doubt. Once we overcome our doubt, we gain concentration. That is concentration technique. And then you use that concentration to develop your insight, Vipassana. Vipassana is seeing things in a very special way. You can do it from the very beginning. What is the special way? And what do you see in special way? You see your body, feeling, perception, thought, and consciousness. These are all you have. And they are always constantly changing. Changing all the time. Your body is changing, your feelings are changing, your perceptions are changing, your thoughts are changing, your consciousness is changing. Pay total impartial attention without any prejudice or emotion. Impartially pay attention to these aggregates. Honestly, sincerely pay attention. Then you can see them changing, always. That means they all are impermanent. Whatever is impermanent is unsatisfactory. There is no way out. Impermanent things are unsatisfactory. When they are impermanent, unsatisfactory, you can also see that there is no any permanent entity to control this. There's no overlordship to control anything. They happen in their own way as they are natural, established element of Dhamma. They happen very naturally. When we see this, your mind becomes relatively calm, and then you can overcome your greed, hatred, and delusion. Seeing the truth of your aggregates, truth means impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and selflessness. Once you see impermanence, you can overcome your greed, hatred, and delusion. Three main defilements, root of all defilements, you can get rid of by seeing impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and selflessness. This is how you practice Vipassana, whether you are a beginner or advanced meditator. In Vipassana, you must remember, Vi means very special. Passana means seeing. Seeing in a very special way to realize impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and selflessness, and to overcome our greed, hatred, and delusion, and liberate mind from suffering. That is the gist of Vipassana meditation practice. Very brief summary. Okay, another question.
Thank you, Bhante. From inside the library, what is your advice on how to measure the progress of our practice? your advice on how we should measure the progress of our practice.
Progress in our practice?
Yeah, how do you measure that? How do you know if you're progressing? What's your way of deciding how far along you are?
Yes, that's a good question also. When you practice meditation, you can see how much your negative mental states are fading away, negative mental states are weakening, and positive side is arising. For instance, if you happen to get angry very, very often, as you practice meditation, your getting angry will be not as frequent as before. Infrequently you get angry. And even if you get angry, you can very quickly get rid of your anger because of the practice of meditation. Secondly, you have not been patient. You are a very impatient person in everything, in conversation, in eating and talking and so forth. You have been very, very impatient. When you practice meditation, you learn to be patient. When you do not, before you meditate, you will be perhaps very proud. Now as you practice of meditation, you become very humble. When previously you were very greedy, now you remove your greed and you simplify your life. And so forth. When you don't meditate in the past, now you meditate, you always look forward to a time to spend quietly, peacefully, and meditate. These are the progress you can see that you have made through the practice of meditation. There is no way somebody else can give you a certificate for your progress. You see what is happening in you, in your mind, because meditation is 100% personal, and then you will see this personal improvement. Okay?
Thank you, Bhante. Is it also possible that with the practice you become more and more aware of your defilements?
Right.
And you actually may think you're going backwards because you realize how many defilements you have that you did not even notice before.
Right, that is true. That is true. That's what I mentioned. You see your progress and you see your weakness. And then you learn to overcome your weakness, minimize them, and you can get what you call overcome and destroy them. Yes, I said anger is one thing, greed is another thing, pride is another thing, and so forth. And you previously are very jealous. As you meditate, you become less and less jealous, and you become more. You learn how to appreciate others' success instead of becoming jealous. So these things you can see within yourself, surely.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah.
The next question, Bhante, is death by a sudden disaster, for example, earthquakes or floods or plane crash, is this the result of karma or they're just unfortunate accidents?
We cannot say they all are karma. It can be, suppose you meet with an accident while driving, you might fall asleep on the wheel, on the steering wheel, and you meet with an accident. That is pure accident because of your sleepiness. That is, you cannot attribute that to karma. Sometimes it could be karma. It is extremely difficult to differentiate between accident and karma, because karma itself is a very complicated thing. Sometimes you can meet with an accident and you may not be hurt. That can be a good karma. Sometimes you are just walking and somebody all of a sudden can go off the road and hit you. That also can be karma. But the one who went off the road might have been drunk or sleepy, and therefore that is not his karma. The victim might be, perhaps, I don't say for definitely that is karma, but it can be karma, it may not be karma. It is not possible for anybody to tell definitely that is karma or not karma. Some are due to karma, some are not. Okay?
Thank you. The next question is, what can one do to prepare for a peaceful death? For example, not to have fear when you're faced with death.
I think that's also a very good question. My very frequent advice to people, if they want to die peacefully, they practice metta. And in the metta and Sansa discourse, the discourse on the benefit of metta practice, Buddha has mentioned 11 benefits. One of them is peaceful death. Asammulo kalang karoti. Without confusion, without fear, without anger, one may die peacefully. You know, sometimes you don't know, many people live very peaceful life, loving life, without hating anybody. They may not declare to the public that they were practicing metta, but they are naturally practicing metta, and they don't have anger in them, and they die very peacefully, like blowing a candle. Very peacefully. Therefore, one thing one must do to die peacefully is practice metta. Second is think of the qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. When you think of the qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, the mind becomes very calm, relaxed, and peaceful and pure. Pure. Because we think of the purity of the Buddha, purity of the Dhamma, purity of the noble Arya Sangha. When we think of purity of somebody, our mind also naturally, almost automatically becomes pure. Thirdly, you keep focusing mind on the breath. Breath is also very pure. It is not mixed with any defilements. It doesn't have any prejudice. It doesn't come from any particular country, tradition, religion, and so forth. It is very natural thing that we share with everybody. And keep the mind on the breath. Always then you can die peacefully. Next thing is you practice the meditation on death. Meditation on death you will be very wonderful to see how beneficial it is, because you can see death taking place every nanosecond in our life. Every moment we breathe in, we experience impermanence in our breath, in our feeling, in our perception, in our thought, in our consciousness. When you see them changing all the time, death is not something unusual, because death is another moment of impermanence. This life comes to an end, just like feeling arises and persists and passes away. And then we can say the feeling dies, perception dies, thoughts dies. Therefore, our final death is another death, not something unique, something unusual. And therefore we naturally prepare for death, knowing the death taking place all the second or every nanosecond. That is another way of Buddha mentioned that. That is one of the benefits of practicing awareness of death. So, these are the ways to practice to die peacefully. Okay?
Okay. Let's see. I don't see another question in the chat, but maybe I can ask a follow-up question. What's the best way to mitigate or overcome the feeling of grief that we have when we lose somebody that we love dearly? For example, one can practice the 5 recollection, or one can reflect on impermanence. What's your advice with how to practice these reflections to not suffer so much? I mean, even Venerable Ananda suffered when the Buddha died, and he was highly attained. So what's your advice for us?
I think that is, you gave the answer in your question. That
Okay.
5 reflection is one of the things that we have to practice. 5 reflections: Jati Dhamma, Jara Dhamma, Vyaya Dhamma, Apya Sampayoga Dhamma, and Marana Dhamma. That is the nature of the nature that we all die. We are born and we keep taking birth all the time after every moment. And we are Jara means decaying. We are decaying, growing and growing and growing and growing. At one stage we say growth, another stage we call Jara. Then we fall sick, and there is no way to stop that. And then there are, of course, separation from loved ones is also happening, and then karma. We all are owner of our karma. These are the 5 things we have to remember all the time. And then, of course, death is another thing. And last thing you mentioned is impermanence. I mentioned it also in my previous answer. Everything is impermanent, therefore we are impermanent. We die. Yeah, these are very important reflections to get rid of our fear of death and have a very peaceful death.
Thank you, Bhante.
I think, friends, now we are running out of time. We want to do our metta practice and do meditation. And so I stop this and share some metta and practice some meditation. Okay. I recite this for you, and you all focus your mind on the beautiful thoughts in these passages. This is called Discourse on Loving Friendliness. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds, whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long or large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth. May all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere. Neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hatred or resentment, whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down, or whenever awake. One should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision. Removing desire for sensual pleasures, one comes never again to birth in the womb. With this metta thought, friends, let us continue our meditation. And okay. By means of these meritorious deeds, may I never join with the foolish, may I join always with the wise, until the time I attain Bhavana. May the suffering be free from suffering, may the fear-struck be free from fear, may the grieving be free from grief, so too may all beings be. From the highest realm of existence to the lowest, may all beings arisen in these realms, with form and without form, with perception and without perception, be released from all suffering and attain to perfect peace. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Friends, I want to end this session with my metta sharing. I want all those who are suffering in hospitals be free from suffering and return to their normal life and continue their Dhamma practice and attain liberation from suffering. May all the doctors, nurses, hospital staffs who sacrificed their life, their comfort, risking their life to take care of these people, dedicating their life, and they may continue their wonderful service and have time to practice metta, practice meditation, and liberate themselves from samsaric suffering. And all those who are grieving their deaths, and may they find peace and happiness to overcome their grief and continue their meditation to liberate from samsaric suffering. May all those who are in trouble spots, in various places, in war zones, in places where a lot of discrimination, at workplace, in other places, poverty-stricken people, all of them find peace somehow, practice Dhamma meditation and attain liberation. Overall, all living beings without any exception, as she recited at the beginning of meditation, find peace, happiness, solace and comfort, and attain final Nibbana. Thank you for listening and participating in this.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante. Peruan Saranai.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante G.
Thank you, Bhante.
Keep well, Bhante. Wish you
Thank you, Bhante.
Day is in the world's and this time's most needed genuine disciple of Lord Buddha.
Thank you, Bhante.
Much made, Bhante. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Good health, Mama.